The European Parliament is under attack, said President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola. This extraordinary statement came after revelations of a corruption scandal that has rocked European politics. Eva Kaili, a Vice President of the European Parliament, has been arrested on charges of corruption and money laundering. Kaili had been accused of taking money from the Middle Eastern state of Qatar in exchange for blocking criticism of the small oil-rich country and pushing policies that favoured it. The scandal has begun to spread and threatens to implicate some of Europe's most important political figures. We ask a simple question: how did we get here, and what does this corruption scandal mean for Europe's democracy? The scandal began on the morning of December 9th, when Belgium's police carried out a series of raids in the city of Brussels and arrested 6 people. Those arrested were major figures in European politics. Eva Kaili, Vice President of the European Parliament, was arrested when police found 150,000 euros at her apartment. Antonio Panzeri, an Italian former member of European Parliament, was also arrested. Among other things, the police found 600,000 euros in a private home, along with several 100,000 euros in a suitcase picked up at a Brussels hotel. As details of the scandal emerged, the obvious question was, where did the money come from? Fairly soon, the fingers began to point in one direction: Qatar. The oil-rich nation has been accused of bribing Vice President Kaili and other members of the European Parliament in exchange for political support. Qatar needs that support for several reasons. First, the country has run into significant criticism for its human rights record. The country was accused of being a modern-day slave state because of its harsh treatment of foreign labourers. When the FIFA World Cup was hosted in 2022 by Qatar, there was a mountain of criticism because the World Cup stadiums were built using the highly exploitative kafala labour system. Qatar has also been hostile to LGBTQ communities, which was clear when European teams playing in the FIFA World Cup were barred from wearing armbands showing support to these communities. Qatar has other good reasons to want to remain on Europe's good side. The Middle Eastern state is looking to sell European countries natural gas worth billions of euros. After all, the continent is moving away from energy dependence on Russia and needs Qatar's gas supplies. European Parliament is also considering a proposal to give Qataris visa-free access to the EU's Schengen area. The allegation is that Qatar bribed Vice President Eva Kaili and former parliamentarian Antonio Panzeri to buy influence and friends in Europe. If that was the plan, it seems to have worked. Eva Kaili has been a defender of Qatar in the hallways of European power. In November, Europe's parliament passed a resolution condemning Qatar for the deaths of thousands of migrant workers. However, Kaili took the opportunity to praise the historical transformation of Qatar brought on by the World Cup. She praised Qatar's social and labour reforms, all of which took place after migrant labourers had died building Qatar's World Cup football stadiums. Kaili also pushed for easier visa norms for Qatari citizens and even condemned her own colleagues for criticizing the Middle Eastern state. While Kaili has been removed from all her political positions and is now in jail, her arrest raises a few key questions. Just how far does corruption in Europe go? A number of major European politicians are being caught in the net of this scandal. Pier Antonio Panzeri, the MEP who was arrested in this scandal, also headed an NGO called Fight Impunity. Politicians sitting on the board of this NGO include the former French Prime Minister, Italy's former Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the European Union's former foreign policy chief. As the Qatar scandal erupted, a number of individuals who worked for this NGO have been arrested for their role in lobbying for Qatar. Qatar, for its part, has released a statement denying any allegations of misconduct. However, with so many major political figures implicated, shockwaves have gone through Europe. Matters were not helped when Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, appeared to duck questions at a press conference about her vice president's links to Qatar. Margaritis Schinas, who is second in command of the European Commission, went to Qatar for the World Cup and controversially praised the Middle Eastern nation's labour and social reforms. Schinas also led efforts to remove the visa requirement for Qatari citizens. If you'll recall, these policies are exactly what the arrested European Parliament members were accused of pushing in exchange for Qatari dollars. The backlash has been severe. Questions have been raised about how far corruption goes in European democracy. Prime Minister Viktor Orban of Hungary, who who has been repeatedly criticized by Europeans for his record on democracy, even took to memes to mock Europe's leaders. Roberta Metsola, President of European Parliament, was clear about the threat this Qatari corruption scandal poses to Europe's democratic credentials. Our way of open, free, democratic societies are under attack. The enemies of democracy, for whom the very existence of this parliament is a threat, will stop at nothing. These malign actors, linked to autocratic third countries, have allegedly weaponized NGOs, unions, individuals, assistants, and members of the European Parliament in an effort to subdue our processes. As this scandal unfolds, only time will tell whether and how far Europe's democratic institutions have been compromised.